Hello, it's April the 3rd, and it's a pretty nice and sunny day today. Our seeds are growing pretty good. I left them out and they got a little too cold, so they're not as happy as they normally would be, but I left them out and let them blow around in the wind a little bit. I relocated the strawberry plants. We had bought a bunch of strawberry plants, and I bought this stackable planter right here that people use for strawberries and stuff. So they're not very happy because they just got, moved and everything else, but I think they're going to be fine. If you could see some of the pictures, you could see that that these potatoes were just taking over. And I had put a potato in a couple of these beds and stuff like that. So yesterday I actually moved these into these fabric holders and 5-gallon holders. I've got a couple of 15-gallon holders that I'm going to move the potato plants to as they get bigger. But the real reason why I wanted to show you this video is I wanted to show you the progress of our worm composting bins. Anyway, I'm amazed at how quickly this has actually turned into compost. And there's my little friends, my little red wigglers. But anyway, a lot of this stuff was greenery, and there were leaves and there was paper, but look at how quickly this has turned to compost. This is less than a month. I'll put the exact date on when this was installed. This was the last one that I had built, and you can still see the paper. You can still see the remnants of that. But there were a little bit of leaves and stuff. There's some leaves and some newspaper and everything else. And you could see the worms and everything else. But these in bed composting bins really compost quickly. I was kind of surprised by that. Go ahead and stir it up a little bit. I'm really surprised by how quickly they turn out. This one here has a little bit more newspaper on there, but again, it's really composted a lot faster than the other composting bins that I've had. I gotta say, I'm really impressed with how these in-bed composting bins work and how the worms go and do their magic. Morning, everyone. Well, today is going to be a busy day. It's a Sunday afternoon. We got down actually to 30 degrees last night, so I'm letting the frost cloth kind of dry up a little bit before I fold it up. Today's going to be a busy day. I got a third one of these Birdies Raised Garden Beds. I'm going to go into the workshop, assemble it, have it ready, and I'm going to put it lengthwise along this area right here. I'm going to go ahead and take this fence down, and the raised beds will form the fencing, all except for right here, which I'll put something here to block it off. So anyway, I'm going to run into several complications today that I'm going to have to address. My water line, that was the official water line from the house, comes along here, and I made a splice down here already. I actually buried it. But I also have my electrical that runs through here. I don't know how deep that runs, so I may actually have to reroute it in this area. And then, as you can see, there's a huge upslope right here. So I'm going to dig pretty deep here and a little deep here to basically make it so it's the same height as this here. And then I'm going to take this soil out and level this into a working area that I put a gravel down. Now, how far I get on that today is yet to be determined, but I'm going to work on that. Go ahead and get the garden started for the year. So we've got the bed assembled, and we've kind of got it just for an idea for size to see where it's going to go. And anyway, so the next step is I'm going to take this fence apart. It looks like, as far as a position, I think that is going to be the best location. I want it to come as close to the gate as possible. And then it's going to leave a little spot over here, which on this side here, I'll probably just stick maybe some soil or something like that. But this will basically do away with the fence in this area here. So anyway, now that I've got the layout laid out, I'm going to go ahead and start digging it to make it level. All right, okay, so we've actually got this thing level. Pretty close to level here. One thing I did was I bent it in down there because I have the concrete post for this post. Anyway, that allows me to bring it close enough so that it's basically a fence. And then over here, there's really not that much room that's inside there. And if I put something here on the outside, like a flower pot or something with a plant, or even I could even plant a plant there and take up that space. So anyway, I guess now I'm going to put down the hardware cloth and then put down a little bit of weed barrier and then fill in the dirt and lock it into place. I ran drip tubing up through here. I also ran wire for landscape lighting. I'll either put a light in this corner or this corner, or I may even put light in both corners down the road. But anyway, whether or not I do anything, I've got the cable there. Anyway, I will tie in the wires for the low voltage power right here to the wire that I've exposed right there. I've put my hardware cloth down, and then I've put my weed barrier cloth down. And anyway, I've actually spread it over here because I'm going to eventually make all of this gravel like it is over here. So anyway, I've got the weed barrier laid down, but what I am going to do is I'm going to rebury that pipe, bury it lower. And I've actually already kind of leveled the area out for the stone, so it's going to be a relatively level area once I get this done. Got a wheelbarrow over there full of dirt, and I'm going to go ahead and put that down on the bottom there. I've emptied my wheelbarrow of Georgia clay, and anyway, since I filled it up, it's gotten several rainstorms, so it's wet. Luckily, I don't have to wet it, but now I'm going to go gather some more material to put down. I'm going to go over to my compost bin, crank up the lawnmower, maybe mow a little grass back here, and let's see what I can come up with. Well, we've got it in place. I put the mud down the bottom, then I put a layer of twigs down. I put a leaf bag of a bag of leaves, and then I put grass on top of that, and then I just put the cardboard from the Birdies box. Next step that I want to do is I need to go through here, and I want to dig a trench and bury the electrical and the pipe lower down, because once I took the slope out, I need to dig that and bury that lower. However, filling this up with water and spraying it down, stuff like that, I got the water and all in the place, so I'm gonna wait till tomorrow and get this when it's not so muddy. And then once I do that, I'll go ahead and it'll be pretty much leveled out, and I'll spread some rock down. This whole area will be rock. I'm impressed with how quickly I got this filled up. So anyway, just gonna put these fabric bags in here. So anyway, they'll have a place to be growing and some pots and stuff like that, and get some new plants started out in the meantime. Put just a little drop of Calc Magic. It's a 222. I'm gonna put some Miracle Grow water. So I'm gonna mix 1 tablespoon in here of Miracle Grow. I'm gonna do a little bit of fish fertilizer. I'm gonna water all of my new plants here in. It's Saturday, right before Easter, and anyway, I made a mistake. We had a neighbor that said like she found a new greenhouse that had plants, and a 4-pack of plants were like $2 something, and so we went and bought a bunch of plants. So we got some banana peppers, yellow bell peppers, some Ruby Perfection cabbage. These are some tomatoes, some regular tomatoes, large size tomatoes, some sweet peppers, and red and green giant Marconi peppers. We got some herbs, cilantro, and we also got a plant of basil. So anyway, as if I wasn't already in a little bit of problems with space already, I definitely am going to be now. Last week, basically I built this raised garden bed. Here are the seeds, the plants that I rose from seeds, and I need to really get these cucumbers in the ground pretty soon because they're not very happy. The tomato plants, basically, they were looking pretty bad, and then I actually gave them some nutrients and stuff like that. I gave them some Alaska fish fertilizer, some cow mag, and some Miracle-Gro plant food, and that really brought the seedlings to life. I'm gonna put these in the ground or in the bed quicker. Anyway, I bought a bunch of plants. From every one of the plants that I purchased from basically just withered away. The only ones that are still okay is this sweet pepper and this tomato jelly beans, and even that one doesn't look very happy. So I don't know if it was my soil mixture or that basically they just were a little too late to transfer, or that it got down into the lower 40s a couple of nights. I don't know if that's really what did it, but they don't really look too happy. This is a basil plant. I bought a basil plant that in the Buford Highway Farmers Market, and it was just basically a package with a bunch of plants, and I split them up and stuff like that. They weren't very strong plants, and I don't know how well they'll do. Over here, this one here actually straightened up, and there's another basil leaf that's growing. This is one of the plants that I got. It just shriveled up. This tomato plant looks like it's doing okay. And I bought 2 cubic yards of raised garden potting mix. I had a bag of composted mushroom manure. I have a bag of black cow composting manure, and I just basically put these inside the bed just to see how much soil I have. And I don't really have enough soil as it is, but I probably will go ahead and open the bags up and mix them up. I was going to cut the grass and put a couple bags of grass down the bottom, but since we've got a lot of plants that need to get into a home pretty quickly, it looks like I may have to speed things up a little bit. First things first is I'm going to go ahead and finish up my work here. Anyway, I ran hardware cloth, and then this is a weed barrier cloth right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the bed. I'm going to go around the bed, put leaves underneath, put leaves on top of the stuff, and I'm just basically going to put rocks here. So when you're coming up and mowing the yard, this right here, the grass will just stop growing right here. I'm going to go ahead and clean this area up a little bit. I'll probably bring the circular saw out, cut this down to the size that it needs to be, and do the same thing here. I'm probably going to put a stepping stone here so I can just put a potted plant here. And main reason is just I want to keep the dogs from thinking that they can go through that little area. And I'm just going to go ahead and clean this up and make it look like it's basically meant to be this way. shifted a little bit, so let's level her down again. Right about it. This looks a lot better than seeing the hardware cloth and the weed cloth is edging. We're going to put the rock edging project on hold for a second because a neighbor just offered me a little bit of soil. So anyway, I've emptied the plants out of my bed. I've got a couple of green items over there that I've gathered. I've gathered some compost for my composting bin, so I'm going to empty out my composting bin, put that in there, and I'm going to go get the lucky soil I've got some soil. Type of tomato and a cucumber plant there. All right, cool. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and hope you have a better green thumb than I do. Well, I'm at 2 bars. I got the chainsaw stuck on something, and there's the water coming in.